Hi, thanks so much for joining me. So today I'm going to do a kind of mini review on Beast Academy Level 3 and then Saxon Math 5-4. So at the beginning of the 4th grade year, I did start the year with Beast. We did start the year with Beast Academy, and then we switched to Saxon Math. And if you guys watched my mid-year update, then I did kind of talk about that, but I'm just going to talk about it a little bit more now because we're in March, and yeah, so we got a little bit further with Saxon. So let me just really quick show Beast Academy if you're not familiar with it. I went ahead and got the level lower than what my daughter was, so instead of being in the 4s, for 2nd grade we started in, for 3rd grade we started in the 2s, level 2, and then for 4th grade I did level 3. On their website they talked about how they recommended possibly, I believe, starting a level under if it was your first time using it or something, etc., etc. So I just went ahead and did that, and actually I was drawn to it because of the comic book style of lessons. And I just found out that it really didn't add much to her enjoyment of math. She wasn't really huge, fond of math, so I kind of thought this would be I don't know, maybe more exciting or something, but it didn't really translate to when she did the practice. So I mean, the curriculum itself, this is a chapter, this is the 3A. So this is the total 3A, 3B, 3C, and 3D. This is everything it covers, and I believe it's like a mastery program, and that was my issue with it, that I feel like we weren't staying enough on each topic. I'm talking about for 3rd grade, but then I continued it. I was like, I'll go ahead and continue it for 4th grade, and not much into 4th grade I changed to Saxon because it was taking a very, very long time. I felt like she was needing a lot of supplemental practice, especially in multiplication, addition, subtraction. I was using all these extra books, which is fine. And I'm not sure if other programs, that's just a common thing, But for us, this was taking a very, very, very long time on top of doing the supplemental things. Plus, she was just getting very, very frustrated with it. Pretty much only finished guidebook A. And then she started doing a little bit of B during, on Fridays for just kind of logic. I kind of call it, in my opinion, it reminds me of logic workbooks, the curriculum. They use a lot of creative ways to teach. And I think for some kids that might work, but it did not work for my daughter. And some things she did really well with, this was shapes. And she did really well with certain sections. Not this one, not this. But she did okay, with certain parts of the curriculum. And then other parts she really struggled. And I had a hard time explaining it to her. Obviously this math is way more, I'm calling it logic. I don't know how they would describe it, but it's totally different than the math I learned how to do. And math was always a struggle for me. So I kind of wanted something a little bit more straightforward. So they have the answers in the back, and they have the practice lessons that go with each guidebook. So this is A. So she did complete A, and then we started on B. And this, it's the same format, this is multiplication. So you read a few pages in the guidebook, and then it goes ahead and says, when you get to a stopping point, it has let's see, where is it? I guess we didn't get there yet. So she would read this by herself. Oh yeah, and then when you get to the stopping point, the little red box, it says practice pages, for example here, 7 to 15. So she would read all of this by herself, and then I would ask her if she had any questions. So this chapter 4, it starts with multiplication, and then that's all the multiplication you get. So let's see, chapter 4, yeah. So that's not much. So we were having to do a lot, and then here's chapter 5. So I just found that mastery curriculum maybe was something that I wanted to take a break from and try a more spiral curriculum, which is reinforcing concepts and going over, multiple things over and over. And that's what led me to Saxon. So this was 3B, and it starts with multiplication, perfect squares, and then, yeah, chapter 6. So we got, and it has like all these little fun characters and stuff, but she didn't, I don't know, she really didn't, she didn't respond to it like I thought she would. Like, they're colorful, but then the practice pages are just black and white. And so we started with multiplication here. And see, like, just it has like different ways to do like multiplication instead of just being like the traditional way I grew up doing math, which is just like 4 times 6 equals, blank, and that was, so they do more creative things, yet it still like didn't work with her learning style. I think some kids would just, I mean, I know a lot of people like this curriculum, so I know it just depends on the type of learner your child is, and I wanted to give her the chance to try this curriculum, and we pretty much tried it for 2 years. For 3rd grade, we had a lot of struggles, but I thought maybe that's just because, we're starting to get in a little bit more higher concepts, even though that was level 2 for Beast Academy. But I just, like I said, I just continued because I just was like, oh, let me just stay in the same curriculum. But no, I ended up switching. So she didn't even finish 3B. And yeah, so that's Beast Academy. And so I'm probably just going to sell back C and D to a used bookstore. I talked a little bit about Saxon in my 4th grade update, but if you guys didn't watch that or you're new to my channel, then I'm going to talk about it more here since we've been able to do it more. It was very new to us then because we changed math in the middle of the school year. So I bought like the whole set. I think it's called like the Homeschool set 5-4. And so it comes with 3 sections. It comes with tests and worksheets, which you do first. And then it comes with like the actual, this is the solutions manual. And then this is the actual like practice book. Okay. So Saxon Math is a spiral curriculum. When I first started homeschooling, I'm just going to admit it. Like, I'm not embarrassed to say it. I didn't even know the difference. Like, I didn't even know there was a thing. I didn't even know that math had spiral versus mastery and what, etc. Like, I didn't think to look it up. And I guess I just, so I didn't really, I don't know. So basically from kindergarten, my daughter, well, not kindergarten, but 1st grade, we pretty much always did mastery, which was like, I think Singapore Math, Mammoth, and then Beast Academy. And if I'm wrong, I apologize, but I believe all of those are mastery. And none of them have really worked for us. So I thought maybe it's mastery, I don't know. So then I was like, well, I have to just try a spiral. So I found Saxon. Let me show you guys what happens first. So what you do first is they have everything very well planned in. So basically, I didn't have to buy any supplemental material because everything is in this little worksheet book. So it has right in the beginning, you use each page with a certain lesson. So it relates, it's just practice of, so like this is just a practice test. And then it's like for use with lesson 1. So she would do this before she would do lesson 1, and et cetera, with each page. So every day she does one page before the lesson. So it starts with addition, and then it quickly, and then it moves. This is 100, and then they include things like this. This is like a 100 number chart that you can use with the lesson. And then it goes on to subtraction. So you do subtraction every day for a good amount of time. Then here you have the 100 number chart. So you do subtraction for like a good little time, like a few days, I'm not sure, maybe longer. And then like even has like, here's like a grid. So it has like extra things that go, it has like everything you need in the curriculum. So I didn't have to supplement at all. That's the main thing I like about it. I don't have to add extra workbooks like I was with Beast Academy for us. And now, we're still doing extra multiplication practice. She has a little multiplication board. We also just bought her flashcards for multiplication and division because she's getting into more and more multiplication. But so here they added in a multiplication, and then so it has like, now we're getting into multiplication, and then it goes back to subtraction. So it has like a variety, reinforcing, all of this you do before each lesson. And then right now we're in division. So today she actually did, or yesterday she did division. It's just like a warm up. A lot of the ones are like the same problems over and over, but I just check it with the answers because it's quicker instead of having to, like, I do know the answers. Like when it comes to fractions, I need the answer. Keep it, I know the answers to multiplication and division, especially when we're still doing, it's not like super long division yet or anything. But yeah, but if you need to check it, you have the answers in here. But also it has tests. So after a certain amount of lessons, you have a test. Like for example, here it says facts practice test for use with test 19. So you do this before you do the test, and then you go on to test 19. So all of the tests are in the back. It's like a well-oiled machine. Like it's very structured, and it has everything. I've never been confused with this curriculum. Like some curriculums where it's like, okay, where's this page? I have to find this on that page. It's very well like sorted out. So here's the test. So she does the test after a certain amount, of lessons. Okay, so that is what she does before the lessons and the test. And then, like I mentioned, this is just an answer booklet. Oh, and it also has investigations. So after a certain amount of lessons, you have like an investigation. So right now we're in March, and if we didn't start Beast Academy at the beginning of 4th grade, we'd be much further, but that's okay. So we're like, a little bit less than halfway. And so now I will say that the lessons are taking us about the same amount of time that it took for Beast Academy, because it is a lot of work, but she's grasping it way more. So I don't mind it taking as long because she's not struggling as much. It's more straightforward. Yeah. So this is lesson 1. So it has like a warm up, which is like mental math. And we pretty much do everything. We were at a point a few weeks ago where I was like having her skip some of the problems, and I think that's okay. But now I'm just having her do pretty much all of the problems. So this is all stuff that your child pretty much reads. I just have her read this by herself. I find if we go over it together, it just takes way more time and it just confuses her. It's easier for her just to read through the concepts by herself. All of these concepts I have her read quietly, and then she never really has questions during the examples. Sometimes, of course, she'll have questions when she starts doing it, and that's great. But then she starts the lesson practice, and this is like one example of the lesson practice. So it has a lesson practice, then it has a mixed practice. So the lesson practice is like a little bit more to do with like the actual new concepts, I guess you could say. So yeah, so I wanted to turn back to make sure I was telling y'all the right thing. The lesson practice provides practice on the new concepts. So like what you just learned and all the stuff you read through. And then the mixed practice it says this section contains 25 to 30 problems that prepare students for upcoming lessons. Allow them to work with several strands of mathematics concurrently, and provide them with this distributed practice that promotes long-term retention of concepts. And it says, have your students work independently on the mixed practice and ensure that no problem is skipped. So it says after every 10th lesson, you have an investigation. And it has at the beginning a list of materials you need for the investigation. So far, I haven't had to buy anything. Like it's all been stuff. Actually, I bought a yardstick, but that was something I kind of been wanting to buy anyway for math. But yeah, so the investigations. But yeah, let me continue. So yeah, so then you have the mix. So after you do the lesson practice, after the lesson, you go on to do the mixed practice. And yeah, so some of them are like longer than others. So some lessons take her like 40 minutes, but some take her like an hour. It just depends, and that's fine. I know as math continues to get, a little bit more, complex as she gets older, math is just going to take us longer, and that's okay. Beast Academy was just like literally like some days were like tears. Saxon, it's not super easy, but it's not frustrating for her. And I understand math shouldn't be completely easy either, but I do find it challenging because she's learning, to do new things, but it's not like, it's just way more like simple. So, I mean, I guess it's like, like I said, I think some kids would like Beast Academy for the opposite reason that we didn't. Yet some kids might not like Saxon because they think it's too, I don't know, too simplified or whatever, or like the math like we grew up doing. But then my daughter, I think, needed that. So it's working out really good. Now, so let me show you guys. I don't want to so the table of contents is like so long because the whole amount of lessons that we have is like over 100, like 100, let's see, like 120. So I want to show you guys an investigation too, and then I'm going to talk about a few other things. So this is investigation 1. It is focused on number lines. This one, I don't think we needed any materials for. Some of them you have like, you have to do things like with like sheet, like the yardstick, or like here's investigation. Okay, so let's see, like this one, like it told you need like a ruler, a dollar bill, yardstick is optional, so I mean a ruler, and she just had to measure some things. So it's just like, I don't know, it's just like an extra little thing that's a little bit different of kind of doing hands-on a little bit than just the lessons, but there's very little of that. But I mean, it's just a nice variation, I guess, sometimes when it does happen. It's not like it's like doing a activity kit or something where it's like, ooh, fun, investigation today, but it's just like kind of a difference. So this is investigation 3. This one was also pretty straightforward. There weren't any materials you needed for it. It's just like doing different things. Yeah. So as I started thinking about 5th grade coming soon, I am going to be making a 5th grade planning video, but I started thinking, do I really want to use Saxon for 5th grade? And I really didn't think about it that much until I was like, let me just like see what else is out there that we haven't used. And then I started looking again at other math curriculums, and then I saw the spiral versus the mastery thing, and then like a lot of the other spiral curriculums I wasn't really drawn to. But then I was kind of thinking about, for a little while, like switching maybe for 5th grade to Math UC. Now Math UC is like literally the kind of, from what I read, like the definition of a mastery program. Like they do cover mostly one concept for a whole year. Now they do have other problems. I looked at the samples in their books that aren't just the one thing. Like 1 year is like mostly fractions, 1 year is like mostly division. So I really, really, really considered doing Math UC for 5th grade. And I think it was like Epsilon maybe I was going to do. I don't remember if that one was division, but or fractions. I decided against it because I was like, you know what? Saxon's taken us a long time, but I was like, you know what? She struggled so much with math the past few years that I kind of feel like she may be a little bit behind because we did start a lower grade in Beast, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna she's just doing all the problems now. So what we were doing at the beginning of the school year up until a few weeks ago is she was doing math first because my husband works we're Central Time in Texas, but he works Pacific hours, so he goes to work later and he has a math degree. So it was like, well, let's do math in the morning that he can help you with it if you have, especially with Beast Academy. That was like, I couldn't even help her myself. It was some of the problems I just found very complicated. Saxon is way more straightforward. I can actually help her if she needs it. But so then we were like, okay, well, Saxon's still taking a good amount of time, and yet I felt like she wasn't as focused in the mornings. So what we did was, since starting Saxon, after a while starting it, we realized it'd be better just to do math last. And now she's just doing reading last, which is what we did anyway. So now math is again at the end of the homeschool day. And I think it's kind of working out better for us. But yeah, so that's my little update for Beast Academy and Saxon. So thanks so much to everyone who subscribes, likes, and watches. And if you haven't subscribed, I'd love for you to do so if you find my videos interesting or helpful or both. Thanks so much, everyone. Goodbye.